It's your boy Yo Yo. What up, YouTube? Back with the college football for y'all, boys and girls. You know what I'm saying? We did another good week for week 5, man. Check out my results. I'm gonna put the card up right here. But yeah, man, week 5 was a success. You know what I'm saying? We hit on a couple parlays, man. My big parlay was one team off. 13 out of 14, man. We almost hit their ass big, but we gonna get them soon. Just stay tuned for the parlay at the end of the video. Leave me a sub, a like, and then show me your best 3 picks in the comments. But without further ado, let's get right into it, man. I don't want to waste no time. This is a great week for matchups, man. Great week. Get you a joint, get you whatever you do. And let's kick it off with Jacksonville State at Middle Tennessee. Now then, for this one, this pretty much a coin flip. I do think Jacksonville State is the better team. They're 4-1 for a reason. You know what I'm saying? They're 4-1 for a reason. And Middle Tennessee does have some fight for them, though. They do have some fight in them, especially at home. Jacksonville State did not look good. Did not look good at all last week against Sam Houston. We know Sam Houston is 0-4 for a reason. They're one of the worst teams in the country, and they just let Sam Houston get their way. I didn't like that look. I think they come into this game, with a little bit more of an urgency on defense. And I think we get an under. I think the best play for this game is to go under 52 for Jacksonville State and Middle Tennessee. I like the under a lot on this one. And I think Jacksonville State wins this one, but I think it's going to be a tight game. Middle Tennessee might pull away late. If this is one of them games where a lot of flags helps out the home team, Middle Tennessee could pull off this win. But I wouldn't bank on it, though. I would more rather put my money on Jacksonville State and the under. The under is the strongest play to me. I'm betting the under on that one. Next up, we got FIU, New Mexico State. And, we was on New Mexico State against Hawaii. Clear-cut victory. They was up 17-3 going into halftime. And after halftime, they completely shitted on themselves. And let them boys come back and win 20-17. FIU is not really looking that good either. They're coming off of a 6-38 thrallop against Liberty, but they did beat UConn by 7 the game before that. This is one of those games where I think it's no defense. Both teams on both sides is lacking a little bit of defensive pressure. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to be a lot of QB sacks, not going to be a lot of pressures on the QB. I think we get a lot of fireworks in this game. I like this total to go over 48.5. And if I had to pick a side, honestly, I would lean a strong lean to New Mexico State at home. I do think they're still the better team. Even after that meltdown against Hawaii, I think New Mexico State is the better team. They're at home. But FIU could keep it close. They do have a little bit of firepower, a little bit on offense. Like I said, I like this game to go well over the total. Both teams get into the high 20s. And I think New Mexico State could eke them out. I think New Mexico State ekes them out, but I wouldn't be surprised if FIU covered. New Mexico State to win, FIU to cover and the over. Now we got Liberty coming in at home, 4-0. 4-0 against the spread. They've covered in every game so far. And Sam Houston is coming in this one 0-4. They did perform a little bit better than expected last week against Jacksonville State. But by all means, Liberty's defense is not as bad as Jacksonville State. Liberty will hold this team to a minimal. No more than 15 points for Sam Houston, no more than 17. And Liberty's going to put up a high 30s, maybe 40. Liberty in a blowout. Liberty to win by 20. I'm laying it. Liberty minus 20 all day long. Then we got Western Kentucky coming in this one against Louisiana Tech. I do like Louisiana Tech. They definitely not a bad team, but against Western Kentucky, they are slightly the inferior opponent here. Western Kentucky has failed to impress me mostly on the road. On the road is when I'm looking to fade Western Kentucky. As you can see, Troy was a close game and they ended up losing. And Ohio State's gonna be a loss, but also they did take care of the USF team that's pretty good right now, and they took care of Middle Tennessee last week decisively by 3 touchdowns. Louisiana Tech is coming in this one with a 2 touchdown win against UTEP, and then they lost to North Texas and Nebraska before that. I do think we get under the total, under the projected total for this one. 60 points is pretty much you're begging Western Kentucky to put up that majority of it. You know what I'm saying? Louisiana Tech did put up 37 against North Texas. That's what they're probably basing the spread off of. I don't think Louisiana Tech's gonna put up that many points in this game against Western Kentucky, and I think Western Kentucky could put up low 30s in this game. It might be 33-14. You know what I'm saying? At the most, 35 to fucking 10. You know what I'm saying? Or even 35-17. Like, it's still under the total. I like under the total in this game. Western Kentucky to win. I would lay the 6 with Western Kentucky and under the total. All right, let's cook it up for the biggest game on Friday to me is this K-State game. Kansas State coming in this one 12-point favorite, 3-1 against the spread. Oklahoma State's coming in this one losing against Iowa State and losing against South Alabama. 2 clunkers, like, gross. That shit is gross to me, losing to South Alabama like that. And then Kansas State's coming in this one with a nice win against UCF, and they did lose against Missouri by a field goal. But other than that, man, Kansas State is pretty fine on this one, man. A pretty decisive win for Kansas State to me. I'll lay the 12. I think Kansas State wins this one by 17 or more. I'll lay up to 17 with K-State. In a pretty decisive win, man. Kansas State will do that to these boys. Oklahoma State put up 6 points against South Alabama, allowed them to score 30-something. K-State is way better than South Alabama, so it's just common sense. K-State to lay the big number all day long. Next up, we got Nebraska at Illinois. Illinois did not look good last week against Purdy. We already know this Illinois team is not the same team from last year with Chase Brown. We already know the defense lost a couple starters from last year. Nebraska, on the other hand, is not good either. You know what I'm saying? They're 0-2 on the road. And they came in this one with a shit show of a show against Michigan. And then they beat up on Louisiana Tech and NIU. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's really. NIU is probably their best win. But, man, this one's tough, man. I just think Illinois has a little bit more of a fight, a little bit more talent, just slightly more talent on the Illinois side. And they're at home. I got to side with Illinois in this one to win by a field goal. I will lean with Illinois in this one. It's a super slight lean. I probably won't touch that one. Rutgers at Wisconsin. Now I got Wisconsin to end it up. I got Wisconsin projected to lose this one. If you could see Wisconsin, they played in week 4 against Purdue, so they took a bye in week 5. And I think, some people's going to say they're well-rested coming off a bye. They're well-rested. I think that's going to play into a negative for Wisconsin. They're one of those teams that's already not electric. Tanner Mordecai is terrible. And I think Rutgers is a different beast this year for Rutgers. Rutgers is playing pretty good. Besides Michigan, They've looked good every game. Um, I think they can compete. I think they might get the outright upset in this game against Wisconsin. This is a game everybody's overlooking Rutgers, and they come to show that they're not a joke this year. Rutgers is gonna cover the 14. I got Rutgers plus the 14, but I will sprinkle some on the money line. Keep that game circled. Wisconsin is a good team. They did handle Purdue, but they are one of those teams that coming off a bye week, they might be a little sluggish. They might be a little bit lackadaisical. They might be taking this Rutgers team for a joke. And I think we see a closer game than 2 touchdowns for Rutgers. Rutgers plus the 14. We got William and Mary coming in against Virginia. I think Virginia gets his first win against a 4-1 William and Mary team. Finally, Virginia gets a win after being 0-5. Terrible start. We've looked the other way against Virginia after they disappointed me in week 2. Ever since week 2, we already know Virginia is not going to be trustworthy to back. But they do get a good win, feel-good win against a William and Mary team that's terrible, haven't played anybody. Now we got some action. Oklahoma, number 12 ranked, 5-0 versus 5-0. And we coming in this one with a 7-point favorite as Texas. Oklahoma beat Iowa State. They beat Cincinnati by 20-16. You know what I'm saying? They beat them by 14 points. And they beat SMU by 17. Texas has one of the top tier defenses in the nation. Held Kansas to 14, they put up 40. Held Baylor to 6, they put up 38. Held Wyoming to 10, they put up 31. And one of the best games of their year is the Alabama victory. They put up 34 and allowed 24. So they haven't allowed more than 24 points in 5 games. That's pretty good. And they also haven't allowed more than 20 points. So both defenses are coming out swinging. That's going to be the tail of the take. I don't get why this is at 60 points. This is going to be a defensive game. Oklahoma versus Texas. It might be 14-7 at the end of halftime. I think we get well under the total. I'm taking under the 60. I'm glad this is getting bet up because usually this game could be a high-scoring game. 2 electric offenses, of course. But this is not Iowa State. This is not one of those, no. This is going to be a defense versus defense. I like Texas to get the win, but I like Oklahoma to keep it close in the under. Now, this game is going to get ugly right here, folks. I think Toledo might win by 35. Toledo to win by 5 touchdowns. I got Toledo to win by 5 touchdowns in this one, even 4 touchdowns. I definitely think they cover the 19 against a weak UMass team who we were fading last week against Arkansas State. People thought I was playing when I said Arkansas State was nice. Yeah, I got Toledo to win by big time in that one. BC, Army. BC Army, my bad, y'all. Army looked good against Syracuse, but they ended up letting Syracuse win, come back. You know what I'm saying? Syracuse is the better team. But Army did come out in their last game against my boys. Before that, they went up against UTSA and dominated. Allowed 29 points. Lost to University of Louisiana Monroe, though. Boston College did, you know what I'm saying, get the outright victory, which we did. Fade Virginia. Virginia was up the whole game. And they did the classic Virginia stuff, what I'm talking about. This is why we don't back Virginia. Every time Virginia's on the map, we fade them. But they did give us a sweat in that one. I think I'm going to ride with Boston College in this one against Army. Man, honestly, I just don't trust either side as much as I really want to. Boston College did give us a scare against Holy Cross early in the year as well. Army just is probably slightly has the advantage at home, but it's so ever slightly that I would just rather take the points with any team that's the underdog here. And I'm gonna lean with Boston College, who showed me that they can hang with Florida State this year. That's a more of a better showing than anything from what I've seen from Army. Boston College to get the victory here in the money line. Boston College to win that one outright. Western Michigan, Mississippi State. We already know we're not high on Mississippi State at all. Western Michigan will cover this spread. Western Michigan is 3-2 against the spread. They absolutely showed their ass last week against Ball State. Ball State did have a slight early lead in that game as well. Got off to a good start for Ball State, and they still couldn't hold it down. Western Michigan even put up 31 against Toledo. Yeah, I know Ball State is going to cover 20. I'll take that all day. That's a give me. Mississippi State probably will win the game. They're probably slightly better. They face better opponents. You know what I'm saying? Slightly more battle tested. But they will not beat this team by more than 20. Maybe a 2-touchdown win for Mississippi State at the most. But I might sprinkle some on the money line for Western Michigan. I'm not high on this Mississippi State team. They could lose this game. It's definitely a chance for them to lose that game. Next up, Maryland at number 3, Ohio State. We all know Ohio State is good, especially at home, dog. That hostile environment, especially at home. I like over the total. And I like Maryland to cover. I think Maryland has an outright chance to win this game too. Don't be surprised if Maryland beats these dudes, but I'm gonna just take the 19 points. That's a give me in a game like this, man. I'm not expecting Ohio State to blow these boys out. That's Tua Tagovailoa's little brother, Tulia, man. He's nice. He got a squad around him, and they have a serious squad. They have a defense. They have an offense. This will be closer than 20 points. I don't know what they're doing, disrespecting Maryland like that. But we're going to take the profit, though. You know what I'm saying? They're going to give us outrageous numbers like this. We're going to take it. That's clean profit. It's a no-brainer. Maryland has a 76-point chance of covering 19 points. I'm going to ride with the value. Numbers don't lie. 5-0 for a reason. LSU at Mizzou. We already know LSU is a different caliber team than Missouri. Missouri's off to a lucky 5-0 start. And I think it just fares into the competition more than anything for Missouri. Their best win is Kent State. They did get a field goal win against K-State, but against Memphis, they didn't really look that good. And against Middle Tennessee, of all teams, they didn't look that good. Won by 4. Let Vanderbilt put up 3 touchdowns. I think LSU is the much better team. I'll take LSU on the money line. Get back on track for LSU. That's a get-right game for LSU. We see it all the time. Get-right games for Alabama. Get-right games for LSU. LSU is going to win that game. Marshall at North Carolina State. Marshall coming in 4-0, one of the best starts since 1940 for this team. Man, Marshall is off to a hot 4-0 start. After handling Old Dominion by a score of 41-35, they were almost about to lose that game in some spots. They beat Virginia Tech before that, and then they beat up East Carolina, man. Nobody in Albany. It was a close game with them. North Carolina State Wolfpack kept it close with Louisville. They beat Virginia by 3. Everybody's beating Virginia, you know what I'm saying? That's a common. And they beat VMI, nobody. They put up 24 against Notre Dame. I did like what I see from them on defensive things for North Carolina against Louisville last week. I did like what I seen from their defense. I think Marshall has a rough day here, man. I think North Carolina State is the better team. But, man, Marshall is one of those teams you just can't take lightly for granted. This is a different Marshall team. But I don't think they're ready for North Carolina State. I think North Carolina State edges them out by at least 3. I got North Carolina State on the money line just to get the outright victory. I don't care if it's by 1 point. North Carolina State to win that one, but Marshall will probably keep it close. Next up, we got UTSA at Temple, and UTSA is laying 14 here, 1-3, 0-4 against the spread, and they're laying 14 against Temple. Temple's got you got one more win than this team, but Temple's beat Akron at home, and that's a decent Akron team. And then they beat Norfolk State. You know what I'm saying? That ain't nobody really. Lost to Rutgers, Tulsa, and Miami. We were on Tulsa last week. We already know how good Tulsa is. Like I said, man, I don't think UTSA should be this big of a favorite. I'll take Temple plus the 14. If you could buy this up to 28 or 21, buy it up for some more extra cushion for Temple. But UTSA probably wins the game. But they are on upset watch. UTSA is on upset watch, so just tread carefully on that game. I probably won't touch that game, but I would take Temple plus the 14 if I had to pick a side. CMU at Buffalo. Buffalo did get the overtime victory against Akron, 13-10 defensive showing, which usually could be a high-scoring game. Buffalo at home is pretty good. We were on Central Michigan against EMU last week, and it did feel fair well for us. They got the narrow victory, 26-23, in a rivalry game. Now they coming on the road against Buffalo. I think Buffalo gets right here. Buffalo is slept on. They did lose a couple close ass games to Louisiana Raging Cajuns, and then another team as well. They did get a victory last week by ever so slightly, but if you look at their history, they lost to Fordham by a nail biter, and then Louisiana Lafayette. Man, those are two games that they possibly could have won. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, man, Central Michigan did fare well against South Alabama, one of the most disappointing teams. And they played pretty fair against Notre Dame as well, man. But look at this New Hampshire game, 45-42. That's not what I like to see against a team. 26-23 against EMU. I think they're due for a loss this week. This is one of those sell high for CMU spots. Sell high on this team this week. Buffalo for the outright victory at home. Get right spot for Buffalo. Get right spot. Northwestern at Howard. And I'm going to go with Northwestern to take this one and run away with it. Northwestern on the money line. I won't touch that game, though. And now we got one of the best games of the week, one of my locks. I'm going to go with Washington State all day long, man. What have we seen from UCLA? Comment right now. What have you seen from UCLA to make you take this game, UCLA on the money line? I'll wait. What have we seen from UCLA? What have they done? What have they done? They lost to Utah with no offense. They lost to a dormant offense. They beat North Carolina Central. They beat San Diego State. And they beat Coastal Carolina. What have they done? You know what I'm saying? And I kind of slapped myself in the face for backing them against Utah, because I was saying after I said that video for against Utah, I asked myself, I'm like, what has UCLA done to really, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what has UCLA done? Who has they beaten? They haven't beat nobody. That's the answer to your question right there, man. Washington State, on the other hand, they took care decisively against Oregon State. Oregon State just scored in garbage time, dressed up to score. Decisive win against Colorado State, who stuck it out with Colorado. You know what I'm saying? And they decisively beat Wisconsin team. Washington State is not the underdog here. This is a lock. I got Washington State on the money line all day long. Washington State money line. What has UCLA done? Nothing. They only beat dormant teams, like bad teams. They couldn't beat up a dormant offense in Utah, which makes you think they're going to stop Cam Ward. That shit is not going to happen. Next up, we got NIU, who got a little bit of fight pep under their step. They better than the 1-4 record indicates. And we got Akron, who we could say the same thing about. They're better than the 1-4 record indicates. In this game, I think we get points early and often, man. NIU's defense is pretty solid. Akron defense is pretty outright, about average, middle of the pack. But I think NIU has a little bit more of an advantage on defense, and that Akron has a little bit of a problem because of their quarterback was hurt last game towards the end of the game, and they put in a white guy. I forget his name. He was pretty solid though for him. I think it was Undercastle or something. I can't remember that guy's name, but he was pretty decent though. But he does not look like DJ Irons. That you could tell that offense and that team is built around DJ Irons. Until DJ Irons is back and healthy and ready to go, I gotta side with NIU on the money line. NIU on the money line and the over. But I think the strongest play is NIU, because it could be a slow scoring game if the backup quarterback doesn't get any offense generated for Akron. So tread carefully on the over. But I think we get more points early and often though. If this game goes as planned, it's gonna be an over and it's gonna be an NIU victory. Next up, in North Texas at Navy. North Texas is an automatic over team. Whenever we see North Texas, we see over. Look at this. They let Abilene Christian put up 31. Louisiana Tech, who really doesn't score that high, put up 37. FIU, who really doesn't score that high, put up 39. Cal, damn near put up 60. Every game so far has been an over. You know what I'm saying? And I think we don't get us. It doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop here. We get over this total fairly easy again with a team in the Navy who just had a 74 total game against USF. North Texas could put up points as well. And you know what I'm saying? They put up 24 against Memphis with a good defense. I think we get over this total of 60. And I think we get a Navy cover. I think Navy covers the spread here. North Texas can't really stop anybody on defense. I think Navy's defense is much better. Picked off Memphis twice. I think we get a much better, cleaner defense in Navy this game at home, ready to get right after a couple games that they feel like they could have had under their belt. I think Navy gets right with the cover, and I think we see a lot of points early and often. Purdue at Iowa. Purdue coming off a big win against Illinois. Iowa coming off of a good win against Michigan State, but that's a Michigan State team that's pretty bad. We already know the coaching situation. Coach got fired. It's a team without a home. But they only won by 10, and they weren't really, they never really ran away with it till late. They put up a goose egg against Penn State. You know what I'm saying? They put up the same amount of points as we did at home against Penn State. And then they beat Western Michigan, and they only beat Iowa State by 7, 20-13. Purdue, on the other hand, did lose a decisive loss to Wisconsin, which we know Wisconsin usually beats up on Purdue. That's a rivalry game for the state of Indiana versus Wisconsin. That's a good-ass rivalry always. Wisconsin always gets the better of them. But then when they went against Syracuse, they also lost by 15, and they only beat up on with the Virginia Tech team before that. And like I said, they lost to Fresno State the game before that as well in the game that they were up. I think we get over the total. Like I said, I don't think this should be in the 30s at all. I think we get well over the total, well over the total. If you letting Wisconsin put up 38, I think you can let Iowa put up some points as well. You let Fresno State put up 35 or so. Illinois put up some points, and you put up 50 something as well against Illinois. Why is it at 30, 39? You know what I'm saying? I don't see where we're getting a low total at. And I think Purdue could still steal this one out the back door. I think Purdue could get the outright victory. I'm going to side with Purdue in that one in the money line. Purdue on the money line and the over. Wake Forest at Clemson. Now, Wake Forest is one of those finicky teams. They lost to a weak Georgia Tech team who fucked it all up for us this week. Georgia Tech was the only team that costed me the big money. Only team. They lost to Bowling Green. But we'll get to that. Old Dominion almost beat this Wake Forest team. They had them dead in the water, and Wake Forest found a way to pull it out the hat in the late ending in that one. They were 13.5-point favorites and didn't look like it at all. And they only beat Vanderbilt by 16 and Elon by 20. Clemson is the much better caliber team. Clemson will win this game. I'm not sure if it's by 21, but I would lean with that side if I had to do anything. I would lean with Clemson in a 21 rather than Wake Forest covering 21. I'd rather bet Clemson covering than I'll bet Wake Forest covering. Clemson to win that for sure, though, money line. Syracuse at UNC. UNC coming off the bye. And they let App State hang with them. They beat Pittsburgh. We already know Pittsburgh is that bad. Who just let Virginia Tech beat them. Pittsburgh is that bad this year. No offense at all. Their offense was way worse than like even fucking Louisiana Lafayette. And Louisiana Lafayette has a good offense. Yeah, I think Pittsburgh offense is probably worse than Minnesota's. Like, that's how bad it is. Like, they're on the same level as Minnesota on offense. So that's really not a big win for North Carolina. It's like a bad, you know what I'm saying? It's a good matchup for them. Great matchup against Minnesota. And they let App State take them to OT. Beat up on South Carolina. Syracuse, on the other hand, got a good 15-point win against Purdy. They did start out losing the game against Army. I think they were down 10 or 13 at one point. They came back second half. And then against Clemson, we already know Clemson is a different caliber team. We already know the fave Syracuse against a Clemson. But other than that, man, Syracuse been competitive every week. I think Syracuse could hang with North Carolina as well. If App State can hang with North Carolina, Syracuse can hang with North Carolina as well. Syracuse is the better team on offense to me, honestly. I like Drake May and those boys well. Syracuse just has one of those them damn teams that just always gets the first down. Like, they find ways to convert third downs a lot. And the same could be said about North Carolina. But I think North Carolina is slightly better on defense, though. North Carolina has the edge on defense for sure. And their offense is about the same, you know what I'm saying, the same horsepower as on offense. I think we get a good defensive game in this one, under the projected total. I think we get under the total, and I think Syracuse covers, but North Carolina to win. Alabama at Texas A&M. We're going to side with Alabama in this one. Texas A&M is a good, formidable opponent, though. I'm not sleep on Texas A&M. Texas A&M is 4-1 for a reason. Took care of Arkansas with an Arkansas hurt quarterback. Alabama's coming in this one with a feel-good victory against Mississippi State and Missouri and Ole Miss. 2 big wins. Yeah, I think Roll Tides keep rolling. Alabama on the money line. Texas A&M is a good. They will put up a fight though. They will put up a fight. Alabama is just a different caliber team though. Texas A&M did lose to Miami at home. Miami was at home. I think Texas A&M is a good ass team, but I think they lose this one in a close game. Alabama on the money line. Next up, we got Florida State at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech beat this Pittsburgh team who we spoke about was so damn dormant on offense. That was a good matchup for Virginia Tech. I felt like they had a great matchup against Marshall. Didn't fucking win. They did. I did bet against them against Rutgers. I didn't trust them against after I seen what they did against Purdue. They beat up on Old Dominion first game of the year, and they beat up on Pittsburgh. The only 2 wins of the season. Against Florida State, they're gonna lose this game. I'm not sure if it's by 24, but I would lean towards the points with Florida State than I would rather lean with the Virginia Tech side. I'm gonna take Florida State on the money line and win that game outright. I don't know if they win by 24 after they show me what Boston College that you know what I'm saying. I would tread carefully with betting Florida State against big spreads, but I do think they get a decisive win. They do. Texas State now against these Raging Cajuns. Texas State coming in 4-1. They beat a good Baylor team first game of the year, and they're coming off of a decisive win against Southern Miss. Southern Miss. Man, we fade Southern Miss after we show, you know what I'm saying? We back Southern Miss, and then they laid an egg against some Arkansas State boys. And Raging Cajuns laid an egg last week against Minnesota after being up. They let Minnesota just do what they're supposed to do after halftime. But they did get a fucking close victory also against Buffalo in a game where Buffalo almost had them dead in the water. UAB, and they lost to Old Dominion. But it's a lot of high-scoring games. I could see why it's a 70-point total. But, damn, though, that's a very high total. UTSA beat these boys 20-13. Nevada stayed within 11 of those. You know what I'm saying? And that was a 54-point total, 59-point total game. I just think I see a little bit more defense than expected here. I do think these teams can score at will here. No defense. But I think we see a little bit under the total. Maybe 63, 64, 61. But I don't think we get 70 here. Maybe not tonight with a later game. You know what I'm saying? I think we get more of a defensive game, more 3-and-outs than expected. And I think we get under the total is the strongest play for me. If I had to pick a side, I would lean with the Raging Cajuns. They just shown a little bit more grit to get the job done. Showed well against Minnesota, but couldn't hold it at the end. Man, Texas State is a formidable foe. I do like what I've seen from Texas State. On a nice, you know what I'm saying, nice 3-game win streak, man. I just like what I've seen from both teams. Honestly, man, if I could buy this up for Texas State, man, +8, +9 for Texas State, I'll take the +9 with Texas State. But I think Louisiana covers 1 point. I think they win the game. But I think if it was like an 8-point spread, 7-point spread, Texas State, I would side with Texas State to cover 7 points. But I like the under as well in that game, a stronger play. Ball State, Eastern Michigan. Now this one, Ball State's gonna lose to me. I like Eastern Michigan on the money line at home to get right after a great game played against Central Michigan. Confidence boosting game. Ball State does not have anything. We faded them against Western Michigan. I actually said, I think I said Ball State was supposed to get the win last game. I did think I did say that last video. But if you could see on my results, on my parlay results and my shorts, I did actually side with Western Michigan on my ticket in a late decision change because I just watched more film. And Ball State doesn't have anything. They don't have no run game. They don't have no throwing game. They don't have no defense. I just don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't see what they have over there on Ball State. No cohesion, no chemistry. Eastern Michigan has a little heart under them. You know, they have a chin. Eastern Michigan on the money line. Simple. Kent State plus 26 against Ohio Bobcats, who's 4-1. Ohio did beat Iowa State. They beat Bowling Green by 31. The same team who just fucking beat Georgia Tech. Wow. This Ohio team is a little bit overrated in my eyes. They beat FAU by 7. And they beat LIU. You know what I'm saying? I think this Ohio team is overrated, but Kent State is one of the worst teams in the country. Probably the worst team in the country. They lost by 20 to Miami of Ohio. And they lost to Fresno by 43. They beat Central Connecticut State. And they lost to Arkansas by 22. UCF by 50. You know what I'm saying? Man, I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole. I don't think Ohio is covering big spreads like this, but I also don't think Kent State's covering spreads either. I'll leave this game alone as a whole, but if I had to side with anything, I'm going to side with Ohio State to cover the spread rather than Kent State to cover the spread. I'll side with Ohio. Bowling Green, who just pulled off one of the worst upsets in the world, upsetting Georgia Tech the only fucking week they just have to do that when that's the last team I need to cash a big ticket, of course. But that's a bad beat. I still don't think this Bowling Green team is that good. Georgia Tech was up 14-0, and then they just fell completely apart. I don't get that meltdown. I don't get where it stemmed from. I didn't see where the tide actually turned. You know what I'm saying? It was just Bowling Green's up now. You know what I'm saying? Decisively up now. They were thralloping those boys, man. It's just crazy. Miami of Ohio did not look good against Kent State. We thought we were going to get at least a 20-point cover for them. And I think Bowling Green could hang in the back door as well with Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio is the better team. They did beat Cincinnati in OT. I think Miami of Ohio wins, but Bowling Green covers the spread. UCF, who's been looking good every damn week. We know how good UCF is. They've been looking damn good every week, but they took a narrow loss, narrow 1-point loss to Baylor. And I told people Baylor was going to start waking up as they get the weeks growing. The weeks growing for Baylor. I think Baylor, we got them figured out. We see the capacity. We see the potential for Baylor. And I know what the potential is for Kansas, too. Kansas is a good team, especially at home. They did let Nevada stick in the back door, 31-24. But after that, they did They show why, you know what I'm saying, why we call them the big play Jayhawks at home. 38-27 against a great BYU team. Not great, but a good BYU team. Let Illinois hang in there by 6. And then they just got beat by Texas, but they were in that game in the first 2 quarters. It was a close game. UCF did just lose to Kansas State before that, but they made it a close game as well. They could have had a chance to win. And then they also had a chance to win against Baylor, but they let Baylor just come in, man, at the very end, get the last laugh. I think we see a good game again this week. Kansas State. Kansas is a good team at home. I just gotta side with Kansas in this one. But I do say tread lightly on this game. UCF could pull off the outright victory. Kansas is on upset watch. This is a game that could be an upset, like a 70 point. I say a 70% chance of an upset. It's pretty high. Um, I would probably stay away from this game and probably enjoy this one for the just complete action. This is going to be a back and forth game. If I had to pick a side, though, I would lean with the big play Jayhawks. They've proven more at home against a formidable foe. UCF just find ways to lose games against better teams. You know what I'm saying? And I'd rather side with a Kansas team who has a little bit more clutchness. Like they have a little bit more closing, finishing the job ability to me. Kansas does. I'll side with Kansas on the money line. Arkansas State is getting disrespected again after pulling off a decisive win last week. Who we faded UMass. They should not have been up for underdog against UMass. Against a Troy team who's average. Troy team is nothing special this year. I got Arkansas State to cover that spread easily. USF coming in this one against UAB. UAB looked good last week against Tulane. They was leading the game most of the first 3 quarters. UAB were up, and then Tulane just found a way to come back and then stomp on them boys and dress up the scoreboard in their favor. UAB does cover a lot of spreads. They're 3-2 against the spread, but 1-4 on the record. USF is the better team on offense. But I think UAB sticks it out with them. This is an upset watch game as well. USF is on upset watch. But I will side with USF on the money line. Like I said, UAB just find ways to lose as well. I do like what I'm seeing from them as well. But just like UCF, UAB is like another UCF on a lower scale. They could stick it out. They could put up a lot of points. But they also just somehow find ways to lose after putting up 30. You know what I'm saying? It's just a bad defensive showing every week. Every week it's a bad defensive showing, even no matter how many points they put up. And I think that's a bad recipe to keep banking on. You know what I'm saying? USF to win this one, but UAB is going to keep this game close. And they might put out the outright victory. Tread carefully. Vanderbilt at Florida. Vanderbilt is the team to beat up on. Vanderbilt is nobody. Florida is really not that good either. I don't think they win this game by 18, but I think Florida wins that game pretty decisively by 10 points. 10-point victory for Florida. UConn, one of the worst teams in the country, 0-5 for a reason. Couldn't even beat Utah State last week. Like I said in my review, I hate to pick any team against I hate to pick UConn against any team, and they had the perfect opportunity against Utah State. They were even up in that game at times too, and they just found a way to just lose that game by 1 point, 34-33 against a terrible Utah State team. 2 terrible teams. I had to pick Utah State, even though it killed me to say it. I had to side with Utah State. But I also wanted to take the points with UConn at home because it's 2 garbage teams, I like to just take the points with the home team or the other team, period. But in this game, Rice is clearly the better team. They beat a good Houston. Nah, I wouldn't say good. Average Houston team. They beat Houston in overtime, but they were up decisively in that game. 28 points up at one point. Rice did lay an egg against these boys in USF, though. They did lay an egg against USF. But like I said, man, Rice is the much better team, much trustworthy team. I'll lean with Rice in the points, but instead of the points, I'll just take Rice on the money line to be more safe. Then we got Tulsa coming in against FAU. And I got Tulsa to win this game outright. FAU has done nothing to surprise me. What do we know FAU for? What do they have? A run game? No. What do they have? A throwing game? No. They have a stud receiver somewhere? Let me know. I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Tulsa has the much better quarterback play. I like what I've seen from the Tulsa's quarterback. And I think Tulsa's just on a different path. Like, I think they're in a better. It's less question marks on Tulsa. FAU, what do we know about FAU? What do we see when we watch them play? What did they do last week? 17-23 against Illinois. Okay, cahoots. Against Ohio, you put up 10 points. Monmouth, you know what I'm saying? You allowed them to score 20, and you're coming off of a bye. You're probably slow, sluggish. Tulsa's just coming in this one hot, man. They're coming in this one off of a victory against Temple by 22 points and an NIU victory. Tulsa for the win. And you could even take the +4 in your back pocket if you feel extra safe. You know what I'm saying? Tulsa to cover the 4 or the money line. Now we got Colorado at Arizona State. And I like Colorado in this one as well. Like I said, we faded Arizona State against Cal. They put up a goose egg against Fresno, and they lost against Oklahoma State, who's not very good this year. I don't think if you can't beat Oklahoma State, you're not beating Colorado, even without Travis Hunter. We've seen how good Colorado's been in each game. Oregon was their worst game, but in the other 3 games they had, the other 4 games they had, shit, all looking good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta side with Colorado on the money line. Colorado money line. Old Dominion at USM, Southern Mississippi. Southern Mississippi is not gonna win this game against Old Dominion. Old Dominion is the better team. They should not be the underdog here. Southern Mississippi has not done anything for us to back them on the favorite role. What has Southern Mississippi done for us? You know what I'm saying? What has Southern Mississippi done? Everybody think because they got Frank Gore's son over there, they're supposed to be some type of good. You know what I'm saying? What have they done? Nothing. Old Dominion on the money line, man. It's a no-brainer. Old Dominion money line. Underdog king, man. Underdog king. South Alabama at UL Monroe. South Alabama is not going to cover this spread. I don't believe in South Alabama this year. I don't see what everybody sees in this team. They thinking about last year or something, or the 2 years ago. I'm not sure. But ULM will cover the spread. Maybe I think South Alabama could win this game, but I think they're on upset watch. ULM is a good team. They stuck it out with App State. Now they return home. Crowd's going to be in it for ULM. I think they got enough power on the offense to fucking win this game outright, man. I'm going to take ULM plus the 12. Sprinkle some on the money line. I don't trust South Alabama at all. At all. Kentucky now coming against Georgia. Georgia really didn't look that good last week, y'all. And I keep telling y'all, Carson Beck is super average. They almost lost to Auburn. And Auburn almost lost to California. You know what I'm saying? So I know Pythagorean theorem don't always work, but I think in this game it does. 5-0 Kentucky is for real. What has Kentucky done? Just like we asked about them other teams. What has Kentucky done? They've only beat EKU and Akron. Nobody's. Then they beat Vanderbilt. That's the team that everybody beats up on. And they got a great decisive win against a solid Florida team, a ranked team. Maybe Florida should not be ranked. Everybody gonna say that, okay, but that's still a ranked team. You know what I'm saying? That's a good win for Kentucky, especially at home, to go 5-0. I think they covered the spread easily here. UGA did not cover the spread against UAB. Didn't cover the spread against South Carolina. They only beat up Ball State by 42. That's it. They didn't cover the spread against Auburn, which I thought they all had the shot to do. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't even beat up Auburn by more than 14. I don't think they beat Kentucky by more than 14. If it was Kentucky versus Auburn, I'm taking Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think if you beat not beating up Auburn by 14, you almost lost that game. You damn near might lose this game to 5-0 Kentucky. UGA is on upset watch. This might be their first loss of the season for UGA. Somebody's got to stop sleeping on these Kentucky Wildcats, man. But it's just I think it's more of a UGA's gotta do. They're kind of due for a loss. I think this is where they get their first loss at. I'll take Kentucky on the plus the 14 just to be safe. And finishing off the nighttime slate, you guys, we're gonna finish off the nighttime slate with the lemon squeeze feature where I give you a rapid fire. Starting off with Arkansas, Ole Miss. I'm not backing Arkansas. Ole Miss all day long. Ole Miss is the much better offense, much better defense. They're at home. Arkansas is still dealing with injuries. Ole Miss all day. I'll lay the big number with Ole Miss. Lay the big number. I think they get a 17-point win here or more. Notre Dame, Louisville. Louisville's 5-0. Notre Dame's 5-1. Notre Dame last two games have been all tight, close, low-scoring games, defensive games. I think we see Louisville, and Louisville had a scare last week against North Carolina State, 10-13. They were down at one point, and they came back on field goals and won by a field goal after throwing Boston College. I think Louisville has a lot of offensive power. Notre Dame does as well. And I think both defenses are also solid, man. I think we see a tough game, another low-scoring game. I think we get under the total in the first half. Things might open up in the second half, so I'm going to go first half under the total only. First half under the total for Louisville. And I think full game, though, I think Notre Dame edges Louisville out. Everybody's going to ride with Louisville. I do think Louisville is a great damn team, too. I'm looking to ride Louisville a lot, but I think Notre Dame finds a way to eke out the victory here. Notre Dame just is, they're pretty good, man. They're pretty good. Notre Dame is pretty good. Now we got Michigan. I got Michigan to lay the big number, minus 20. Minnesota ain't going to hang with Michigan. I got Michigan to lay the big spread. Georgia Tech coming in here off of a trolloping loss against Bowling Green after being up 14-0. Miami is the much better team here, much more trustworthy. Beat up on a good Texas A&M team after trailing in that game. And I think Miami throllops Georgia Tech. Fresno coming in this one, minus 6. Nah, I think Wyoming keep this one closer at home than everybody thinking. Wyoming to cover the spread. I think Fresno will win the game. Wyoming covers. And I think we get over the total as well. It's more like that Purdue-Fresno game. We might get a 60-point total. Wyoming got a run game and they got a passing game. And I can say the same thing about Fresno. I think we get points early and often over the total. Fresno to win, Wyoming to cover. Wyoming might get that outright victory too. Colorado State much better than Utah State. Utah State ain't on shit. Can Colorado State limit these boys to scoring? Yes, you know what I'm saying. I think Colorado State got the much better defense. Utah State has no defense. Colorado State to get the victory out. You know what I'm saying? Outright victory. Easily right there. Texas Tech, Baylor. I think we get well over the total. Game might go in a 70-point total. Last week we seen these boys, Texas Tech, put up 56-point total in the first half. Well over the total, man. Over the total, Baylor. And I got Baylor on the money line in a feel good victory. Baylor on the upset and the over. Boise State, San Jose State. San Jose State is good, but they're not great. Boise State to win. I think I like the over as well. Boise State ain't going. They ain't going to hold these boys to no damn seven or nothing. I think we get a lot of points scored over the total with Boise State winning the game though. TCU on the money line against Iowa State. Iowa State is not that good. They lost to Ohio. You know what I'm saying? They lost to the Ohio Bobcats. TCU the men on the money line, no brainer. Oregon State at California. I like California. I'm a California supporter. They could play some ball now. Come on, man. Damn, Oregon State pretty good too. They just beat up a good Utah defense. I think Oregon State just a different animal though on offense. Oregon State to win. Cal to keep it close though in the first half. And then we got USC, Arizona, 72-point total. Arizona is better than Arizona State. We seen Arizona State keep it close with USC. And then we seen USC just absolutely obliterate Colorado the first half. Then Colorado just came back on this USC defense who been getting gashed for the last 2 weeks. I think Arizona put up points as well this week. But I think USC just a different team. I think USC wins comfortably here. They might cover the 21. I'll lean with USC to cover the spread. Parlay, we gonna cook up real quick. I'm gonna do a 3-team. I'm gonna take Kentucky on the money line for the upset. Kentucky money line. Old Dominion money line. Arkansas State plus the 16. And just a bonus pick for y'all, man. That's the 3-leg right there, man. Arkansas State plus the 16. Old Dominion money line. University of the Kentucky. We're going to say Kentucky plus 14 just for safety. Plus 14. And then the bonus pick is Maryland plus the 20. Maryland plus 20. Parlay them 4 up. And we going to hit the books, man. Let's stab the books. Beat the odds. Catch y'all next week, man. Let's keep fucking killing these underdogs. Leave a comment, like, subscribe. Keep going big, man.